Hey man, it's me again. I just can't seem to work through all these thoughts. It's so hard to see past what's going on around me and in my head. Everyone sees a smile, what they don't know is that it's forced. Sometimes I don't even know what to do with these emotions. I'm not sure if I can open up to someone about what I'm going through. Will anyone understand? It feels like what's going on inside is coming out.
Hey United, welcome back to our week 3 of our Inside Out series. My name is Allie and I'm from Orlando Lakes campus. Hey, tonight I want to share with you some honesty. And the honesty is this: Halloween is my second favorite holiday. Now, it's kind of close to Christmas in ranking, but nothing really beats Christmas if we're honest. But Halloween I absolutely love. See, when I was growing up, I loved being able to pick out costumes. Like, that was my favorite thing, knowing, hey, what am I gonna be this year? Is it gonna require a mask? Is it gonna require a wig? Do I need to make it myself, or is it something I can buy? See, I love this time of season that we're in. But I do have a favorite costume, like an all-time favorite costume, and it wasn't even mine. It was my son's, Hudson's. Yep, he dressed up one year as Maui. That's right, Maui, you heard me say it, the Polynesian demigod from Moana. And it was the cutest thing ever. Now, being good parents, me and my husband had to tag along, and we were the animal sidekicks. That's right, so we dressed up as the chicken named Hey Hey and Pua the pig. Now, I'm telling you, Hudson was the cutest thing ever. I mean, you see this little tiny kid in this outfit dressed up as this big, strong guy, but really he's not. See, here's the thing. The reason why we love this season so much is that we are able to dress up and be whoever we want to be. It doesn't matter what the inside looks like. We're able to put something on to cover up the inside. See, I think this sounds kind of interesting because it's something that we do daily. It's something that we do often, where the inside doesn't always match the outside. See, at United, we've been walking you all through some pretty serious conversations, some pretty hard things, and tonight is no different. We may be talking about one of the toughest conversations, and it's this word, anxiety. See, even me just saying that word to you guys, I can feel it from the screen. You guys are kind of tightening up a little bit, tensing up, because it's a real thing. Anxiety is a real thing. And some of us, even in this moment right now, are experiencing anxiety. I mean, just walking through the doors tonight, walking into the building, some of you felt anxiety. Trying to pick where am I sitting in this room, you felt anxiety. See, anxiety is real. And here's some things that I've actually learned about anxiety. See, according to the National Institute of Health, 1 out of every 3 teens between the ages of 13 and 18 experience an anxiety disorder. 42% of families say that anxiety is what their family is struggling with the most. And the most common reasons for anxiety in our world today land in high expectations and the pressure to exceed, all the way from how the world feels scary and even threatening, to the one that we can probably guess, social media. These are reasons, and there's many more, why anxiety is coming up in our world and in our lives. See, last week we explained the difference between stress and anxiety. We said stress is about the environment, but anxiety is the physical and emotional response to that environment. And now tonight, as we talk about this topic, as we dive into this subject, I know personally that this generation ties trust with authenticity. And so tonight, that's where I want to start. I want to start by being real with you, because I'm not a counselor. I cannot diagnose anxiety in your life. I can't diagnose an anxiety disorder. But here's another truth. I've actually never battled truly with anxiety in my life. Yes, last week when we talked about stress, that's me. But anxiety, on the other hand, hasn't been something that's plagued my life. But that doesn't mean I haven't been affected by it. See, you saw my husband dressed up as that nice little chicken, but he's actually someone in my life that struggled with anxiety. And it's something he's battled ever since I've met him. And so I can remember a period in our marriage where it just started getting worse. His anxiety attacks were coming up more and more. And me, being a good wife, wanting to help, But not really understanding, I would say things to him like, hey, it's going to be fine. Just relax. It's going to be okay. Breathe. Ultimately, none of that stuff ever helped. It wasn't until I took the step and trying to figure out, okay, what can I do to help someone with anxiety? And here's what I learned. I can't cure anxiety, but I can help relieve it. And that's what I was able to do for my husband. I couldn't cure it for him, but I was able to figure out ways to help relieve him of it. And tonight, I do want to do the same for you. I know that personally, I can't cure your anxiety, wherever the level is in your life. But I'm hoping after tonight, you see and hear a way to bring relief to your anxiety. See, because here's the truth. Anxiety is a part of life. And we'll call this shark anxiety. It's the shark anxiety for us. And it's there, and it's real. Well, this one's not real, but you know what I'm saying. Sharks are real. And so they're a part of life. But just because they're a part of life doesn't mean it has to control our life. See, and the only way I know to show this to you is to take you to the most perfect person there ever was, the person who did the impossible. And his name was Jesus. And so tonight we're going to look at a story found in Matthew 8. Now let me set it up for you a little bit. So Jesus and his disciples, the men that he raised up and brought with him, are now going through different towns, doing different miracles, healing people. Jesus is giving these grand teachings of just mind-blowing things. And so we see Jesus and his disciples ready to go on to the next town. But it's across a lake. So going across the lake, we know you got to get into a boat. So let's read and pick up at this story in Matthew 8, starting in verse 23. It says, "Then Jesus got into the boat and started across the lake with his disciples. Suddenly a fierce storm struck the lake, with the waves breaking into the boat. But Jesus was asleep. The disciples went and woke him up, shouting, 'Lord, save us! We're going to drown!' Jesus responded, 'Why are you afraid? You have so little faith.' Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves, and suddenly there was a great calm. The disciples were amazed. 'Who is this man?' they asked. 'Even the winds and waves obey him.'" That's a pretty crazy story, right? I mean, if we were just to read it one time through, we think, wow, Jesus is a heavy sleeper. But there's more to this story. See, Jesus was trying to teach his disciples something in this moment. And I think it's something he's trying to teach us as well. Because it comes down to this word, trust. Trust. See, trust is an action. It's just not a thought. And you want to know how I know this to be true? Is that all of you are sitting in a seat right now. Yeah, you're sitting in the seat because you trust that seat. You're sitting in it not worrying, is it going to break? Is it going to fall over? You trust it, and I know that because you're sitting. You've taken an action. See, for us to trust God means more than us just saying it. It means we have to live it. And so tonight, I want to take you on some steps. We'll call it our step ladder, our trust ladder. And we're going to take these steps together to see what does it look like to actually trust God. So the first one is this. Trust that he sees. Trust he sees. See, we see in this story of Jesus and the disciples, and the storm is coming up, the storm is happening, the waves are going everywhere, and immediately we're told Jesus is sleeping. And so ultimately, we know that the disciples are running to him thinking, he has no idea what's going on. He has no clue that we're in danger, that we could sink, that we could die. He doesn't have a clue. And so they're panicking. See, for many of us, we can find ourselves in the very same spot. When the storms in life come, when anxiety is overtaking us, we feel like, God, do you even see what's going on? Like, do you even understand what I'm dealing with right now? Can you even see it? And we can tend to think, well, if he doesn't see it, I guess he just doesn't care. Or he's just too big. Or he's too busy. Or he just made us and left us here to figure it out ourselves. But can I tell you something about Jesus? Jesus is never surprised. He's never caught off guard. And he's never oblivious. I mean, we don't see it in that story when the disciples wake up Jesus and he goes, oh, wow, I didn't know that was happening. Let me help. No, he knew exactly what was going on. He saw it. And so the first way we need to trust God, trust Jesus, is trust that he sees. And so we take that first step on the ladder. We trust that Jesus sees. He knows. He's not shocked. He's not caught off guard. But here's the second thing, because we can't just stop there. We have to trust that he cares. Trust that he cares. See, it's one thing to know that Jesus sees us and knows what's going on, but it's another to know that he actually cares. This is why we don't see Jesus in this story saying, oh, disciples, why'd you wake me up? I mean, I'm so tired. I did all these miracles. Just leave me alone. Guys, come on. No, he doesn't blow them off. See, if Jesus just saw but didn't care, it'd be a lot like you walking down the street and you see this cute, lonely, sad little puppy just sitting there all by himself, and you walk by and say, aw, what a cute puppy, and just keep going. Now, if it was a cat, that's okay if you did that, but if it's a puppy all by themselves, so cute, you're not just going to walk past it. You're going to do something because you're moved. That's pretty much the word compassion. There's something that you've witnessed, that you've seen, that moves you to want to help, to want to do something. And that's who Jesus is. See, Jesus not only sees the anxiety, the stuff that we're battling, but he also cares about it. And he's moved by it. See, but I know with anxiety, it's so hard for so many of us to even believe that to be true, because we've prayed, we've asked, we've hoped that it would be taken away from us, and it's still there. And we think, well, if it's not gone, then he doesn't care. But that's a lie. That's not the truth. There's a verse found in 1 Peter 5:7 that I want to read to you. And it says this: give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you. He cares about you. I don't know how to make that more clear, but Jesus cares about you. He cares about the battles that you're facing, the anxiety that's in your life. And so not only do we have to trust that Jesus sees what we're going through, what we're facing, but that he cares. And so we take that next step. We take that next step trusting, Jesus, you care. You care about the battles I'm facing, the things going on in my life. But the last one is this. We got to trust that he can. Trust that he can. See, the disciples saw the waves. They saw this huge storm. They saw the rain coming in, and they feared for their life. They were afraid that these things were so big that it was going to overtake them, that it was eventually going to kill them. And even though they asked Jesus to save them in those verses that we read, Jesus saw their heart. He knew exactly what they were thinking. Even though they used the right word, Jesus, save us, he saw their heart. And he saw distrust, because what he sees is fear. He saw fear. See, fear stems from our distrust. That's why people fear airplanes, because they don't trust that it's going to fly safely. People distrust the ocean because they don't know what's underneath. This is why I fear spiders, because I don't trust that they're not going to bite me or climb into my ear while I'm sleeping. Fear is found in the root of distrust. See, the disciples revealed their fear, and Jesus saw it. And that's why we see Jesus' response in Matthew 8, verse 26. He said, Jesus responded, "Why are you afraid? You have so little faith." You see, Jesus wants us to trust that not only he sees our anxiety and he knows what's going on in our life, and not only that he cares about it, but he can help, that he can be there. In Psalm 55:22, this is another great verse, and it's a verse by King David, who's struggling with all these different things in his life. And he's at a moment where he makes this understanding, this realization about God. And he says this, he says, "Give your burdens to the Lord, and he will take care of you. He will not permit the godly to slip and fall." See, I think many of us get stuck right here. We can trust that he sees, we can trust that he cares, but we get stuck at that spot where, can he actually help? Can he actually do something to help me with my anxiety? And we don't trust that Jesus can. But can I be completely honest with you? It's a lie. It's a lie either you've been telling yourself or the enemy has been telling you, because that's not who Jesus is. See, many of us choose actually to face our anxiety by ourselves. We try to battle it by ourselves. We try to figure it out. How do I deal with this? How do I get rid of this? And anxiety has this way of making us feel alone, making us feel like we're on an island by ourselves. See, the weight of anxiety doesn't have to be carried alone. Can I show you again what the disciples said after they saw Jesus calm the storm, do all that miracle? This is what they said. The disciples were amazed and asked, "Who is this man? Even the winds and waves obey him." Jesus controls the very winds of the sea. Why don't we think he can help us with our anxiety? Why don't we think he can step in and carry it with us? Why do we think we have to do it alone? See, looking back at this trust ladder, we take all these different steps where we trust that Jesus sees, we trust that he cares, but the next step is we have to trust that he can. And here's the cool thing about a ladder. I'm not looking down at that anxiety shark anymore. It's still there. It's still real. But as I climb a ladder, I'm looking up. I'm trusting the one that's above me, which is Jesus. And many of us are getting stuck on this ladder at different spots, and we're not keeping our eyes focused here. But if we keep taking steps of trusting who he is, of trusting what he said, our eyes focus on him and not what's below us. See, Jesus is literally waiting. He's waiting for you to trust him. He's waiting for you to give it up to him, for you to stop trying to do it on your own, for you to stop trying to put hope in other things to help you, but for you to trust him. And anxiety is still going to be a real thing, but he's here waiting to carry it with you, to help you through it. So we're about to close tonight, but I want to let you know that in the Bible, God has many different names. He's given different descriptive ways of who he is. And maybe you've heard some of them, like Father, I am, Lord, Almighty. But there's one specific one that I want to share with you tonight, and it's one that's actually in the Hebrew language, so it's not even in English, but it's this word, Jehovah Jireh. See, Jehovah Jireh, translated to English, means God will provide. And so when people would say this name to Jesus and to God, they were saying, God, I trust that you will provide. I trust who you are, and I'm exclaiming that you will provide. There were a couple worship bands that came together and they created this beautiful song named Jireh. And literally what that song is saying, it's an exclamation of, God, you will provide, that you are enough, that you're going to come through, that you can carry whatever I'm holding on to, that I can give it over to you, and that I can trust you. See, tonight, I think some of us need to take our first steps on that ladder. And maybe it's just trusting Jesus for the first time. Or maybe we need to take that next step and trusting him with everything. But I want to give you a moment to reflect. Where is God asking you to trust him? Where is he asking you to take that next step?